Yo, 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 what's good with it? It's the homie Mack, music, art, culture, knowledge, reporting live from the Dogon. You know what it is. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. When you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can get all the updates and stay abreast of what I got going on over here at 82 Kings, the YouTube channel, Mack TV, the podcast. So this is another session of Mackin with Mack. Mackin with Mack is essentially my my book review series, because we super nerdy over here at the Dogon, and we music, art, culture, knowledge. We always want to stay in tune with all things socially mobile, scholarly, all scholarly pursuits. The book that I will be reviewing today is none other than Pimp. Pimp. See that? Pimp, the story of my life. Pimp, the story of my life. Published by, who was this? By Holloway House. I believe Baby had some type of book publishing thing too, where I think they may have put the book up somehow. It's called Cash Money Content. So Cash Money Content / Holloway House. But yeah, hip hop history, especially in the 90s, there was always this pimp ethos, and Iceberg Slim, I would say, is like the progenitor for that. A lot of rappers always talked about pimping, but I don't even necessarily think it was always being a pimp or a procurer, as they say, in the most literal sense. I think a lot of times it was about having the psychology of not being taken advantage of, having the psychology of self-determination, not necessarily through the most noble means, but just not allowing yourself to be played or falling for the con. Real quick, Iceberg Slim as we know it, as we came to know him, let me give you a brief biography. Iceberg Slim, government name Robert Beck, was born in Chicago, Illinois on August 4th, 1918. He spent much of his childhood in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Rockford, Illinois, before returning to Chicago as a teenager. His father having abandoned them, Slim's mother supported the family by working as a domestic and operating a beauty shop. He credits his mother for having prepared him for the pimp lifestyle by pampering him during his childhood. Iceberg attended Tuskegee Institute briefly in the mid-1930s. At the same time that Ralph Ellison was a student. At 18, Robert began his initiation into the life, adopting his name, Iceberg Slim, and remained a pimp until the age of 42. Now, real quick, during this time, like, pimping was to this day it is, but pimping was a serious offense. You had the man law, aka the White Slavery Act, where essentially if you were taking a woman across state lines to prostitute her, you were looking at some serious charges. Iceberg Slim himself went to jail numerous times. He actually was in Leavenworth Penitentiary. But let's get to the book itself. Gave you guys a little context of the man that is Iceberg Slim. He actually got the name Iceberg Slim because they said that I guess he was in a club and someone had got shot, and then there was a bullet that came his way and went straight through his hat. But he didn't flinch, he didn't move, he didn't do anything. And people said, "Oh man, Iceberg, you cold, man." They didn't call him Iceberg then. They said, "You're cold, you're like ice." So I guess the nickname he got spawned from that, Iceberg Slim. The thing about this book, and what really blows my mind, is this book really is not, it's not celebratory. This man is not praising pimping. He's actually saying to aspire to be a pimp is one of the worst things you can do. He even goes on and talks about how, he felt as though he was promoting self-genocide amongst his own race. Saying how, if you're even, I think he even later went on to say, like, you're counter-revolutionary when you exploit your own people. And I think this also kind of brought me to something Malcolm X said. Malcolm X at one point had said, a pimp or a hustler is self-determined in the sense of they're controlling their own destiny outside of the white power structure, outside of the system. And with that thought process in mind, I can understand why someone would aspire to pimp. I can understand why someone would aspire to hustle, because you're living outside of the system and you are, again, you're self-determined, you're dictating, you're moving at your own beat, beat of your own drum, But the thing is, it's unhealthy, because when you're pimping and when you're hustling, 9 times out of 10, you're exploiting your own people. So my thing is, I think that makes you worse than the man, because instead of actually finding, I guess, non-exploitive ways to support yourself and to give back to your community, you're actually feeding off of your community. And not only are you feeding off the community, you're really furthering the environment that perpetuates the cycle that we're in. Hurt people hurt people. It just becomes a thing where internalized oppression develops, where you're just, well, forget him, I gotta get mine. Forget her, I gotta get mine. So there is no racial solidarity. And another thing that's really interesting in this book is he talks about his mother a lot. And to me, I'm no psychologist, no psychiatrist, whatever, but I pay attention. And I listen well. I'm a great listener. You can see that maybe the root of his pimping actually came from his mother. I feel like he had like this love-hate relationship with his mom. He even references how he saw his mother, she was in a relationship with some guy, I can't remember the guy's name. I think the guy's name might have been Blue. No, it wasn't Blue, I'm not sure. Can't recall the guy's name. But he gave Iceberg and his mother a really solid situation. It was stable, they had a roof over their head, they were eating, they didn't want for anything. This man treated Iceberg with the utmost respect, showed his mother love, loved his mother, loved Iceberg. And he can recall, in the book, he recalls how his mother straight up told him, like, look, I don't want to be with you no more. I don't want to do this, blah, blah, blah. And how this man broke down, literally got on his knees, like, what do you want me to do? I'll fix it, I'll make it right. And I think to get him off of her, she lied and said, oh, we're just going to the store, we'll be back. And they never came back. And I think as a consequence, the reverberations of that was Iceberg developed a disdain towards his mother. And I think she became like this archetypal image of how he viewed women. I think he viewed women as very manipulative, as very cunning, with much guile, conniving. And I think it got to the point where seeing how his mother ripped away that situation, that stable situation they had, it really broke him down, and it made him feel as though, well, shoot, this man was emotionally vulnerable and open to my mom, and my mom shitted on him. And one of the common themes throughout this book is he always talks about not showing emotion, or being well composed, or not allowing himself to be emotionally vulnerable, and not allowing people to be inside his head. It's like everything like the hood is this psychological jungle where everybody's out to con someone, or to get the upper hand, or get over on them in some capacity. And he always talks about, being emotionless, being stoic. He even says, the best pimps keep a still lid on their emotions, and I was one of the iciest. Any good pimp is his own best company. His inner life is so rich with cunning and scheming to outthink his whores. Now my thing is this, from reading this book, again, I have no desire to be a pimp. I mean, think about it. You got to deal with women, any woman that's willing to just prostitute her body like that and give her money to somebody else. There are a lot of deep-rooted psychological issues going on. And a lot of these women were addicts. A lot of these women had daddy issues. And I'm not trying to dehumanize these women, but I'm saying, like, these women are not the people that you would want to allow yourself to be vulnerable to. You know, there's a lot of instances. Even in this book, he talks about how some of the pimps were attacked or even sometimes killed by the women in their stable. It's weird because at one point he says, you know, a pimp is like one of the loneliest bastards in the world, and I can see how, because you're in such a wayward industry. You can't really build any true connections with anybody, because the whole premise of the industry is the con, is to get over on somebody, you know. And he talks about how I think it's in this book or the Naked Soul of Iceberg Slam. I want to do a book review on the Naked Soul of Iceberg Slam, where he talks about how a pimp must be like God to his hoes. Like, he can know them, but they can never fully know him. So, you know, in that sense, meaning, you know, you observe, you ration out your feelings, you let the women in your stable want to feel loved and desire you, but you never let them inside of your deepest thoughts. So you have to be like God to them. I think the thing that's really dope about this book is he shows you a whole pathology. That pathology being what creates the ghetto, you know, and how the ghetto itself is just it's so again, it's reactionary to oppression, it's reactionary to disenfranchisement, and the people from that said group, they turn on each other. So it's kind of like a Skinner's box, you know, Google Skinner box. But yeah, this book has a lot of wisdom. I think, you know, towards the end of his life, it's funny because he ends up having like 3 or 4 daughters. He tried, I think later on in his life, he made amends with his mother. But yeah, like, this man took away the smoke and mirrors from pimping itself. He gives you like a real breakdown of what the life is like, and that it actually is something no one should aspire to do. But yeah, like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. Follow the movement on Instagram at MACKTV_82. This is a session of Mackin with Mac. More to come. Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. I'm signing out from the Dogon.